guys, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and lately I've been showing you my balls a lot, and we're going to show you some different herps that I work with. I know it's 5th grade, but people think we're funny even though we're really not. And we're also here with Colin, who you know from Classic Herps. You'll probably see this on both channels, and our background's full of chameleons and a little different because we're actually in the back room of Manhattan Reptile World today. What we're doing is we're talking about Tegus. And you can see this one is really running all over.
Yeah, he's making a fool of me.
Colin here, we all kind of have our own things we do at the shop. And one of the things that I do is I mostly work all the venomous stuff. That's why you see the rattlesnakes and all of that. Colin works all of our big lizards. He's kind of our leopard gecko guy, which I know isn't big, or bearded dragon guy, also small, but he's also our monitor and Tegu guy. So he is an expert at these. And Colin, what do you got here for us today?
Yeah, so I have the 2 species of Argentine Tegus right here. Now these are not Colombian Tegus, the easily mistaken that people buy in pet stores all the time. And Colombian Tegus are not nearly as good a pet as Argentine Tegus are. And the dad right here is making a difficult situation for me. But these guys make very good pets. One of the smartest lizards out there, definitely up there with any monitor and alligator. Probably one of the most emotional reptiles I've ever really come in contact with, in the way that once they get bonded with you, they actually want that attention, unlike a lot of other monitors and alligators. So Tammy here is kind of our mascot here at Reptile World, and she is a red Tegu. So red Tegus come from the southern portion of South America, where it gets really kind of cold in the wintertime, so they have a tendency to really hibernate and go to sleep in the wintertime. The black and white one here is going to be from more northern South America. And in the wild, there's a little bit of overlap in their habitat, but not a whole lot. And so even though they look very, very similar, they are separate species, and they never really interbreed in the wild just because they have to breed at different times of the year. These guys usually breed in the spring, they usually breed in the fall. It's just how it is because of the climates that they're from. And really the only difference is their color. Yeah, he's going all over the place.
He wants to run.
Yeah. But I don't know if you saw this guy right here that looks a little bit different than both of them. We
that
actually...
like a croc death roll right there.
Yeah, he's starting to roll around on me. But very few times has it ever been done where someone has been able to actually hybridize the 2 species. And I had to kind of mess with their hormones and their lighting and the timing of everything. But last year I was actually able to get that black and white male, who was making me look like a fool out here, to breed with Tammy. And she's a red Tegu, like I said. And then this right here is the resulting offspring. Not very many of these alive in the world. That is a pure 50-50 black and white to red hybrid. It doesn't really quite look like what I had hoped. It kind of just made it brown. But I hope that when it gets older, it gets a little bit more color in. Honestly, we didn't even know what to expect because, like I said, it doesn't happen. And we got it too, fortunately. So we were pretty lucky, and I felt very, like it made me feel really good as a reptile breeder to get something that shouldn't happen to actually happen just by knowing what you're doing, taking care of them properly, and when they're ready, they're ready. See, Tammy here is the perfect example of a pet Tegu. She's not even moving. I don't think she's moved since I set her on the floor here.
I can say we took this animal to Chicago, and literally hundreds of people at Tinley Park stopped, pet, scratched this animal. If you did, you remember petting Tammy there at our Manhattan Reptile table, say hi.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure somebody that's watched this probably did. And she was just an angel the whole time. She was out most of the show. We gave her a few breaks when she'd kind of get a little bit tired of it. But she was a really great ambassador while we were showing people what Tegus could be and selling the babies. And Colin, I remember when you hit this project and how excited you were. And I know you said it doesn't look like you hoped, but is that black and white close by? Grab us. Oh, here. Don't run away, buddy. Ugh. But if you take a look at these, you can start to see, I think, this almost has a striping. Mm-hmm. And this has a striping. What's weird is this doesn't have as much striping. It reminds me of digital camo from the military. Yeah. So I think it came out really cool, and you can see the red tinge coming into it as well. Mm-hmm. Now the legs look a lot like black and white legs with the spotting, but the color's different. So you can definitely see the hybridization. I can see it in there anyway. Yeah. Now, is that how it came out looking as a baby, or how has this thing changed?
No, it definitely has changed a lot. When it was born, it was its head was obviously green like all Tegus, but its body was like a copper color. Not exactly red, not exactly black and white either, but it was very like rusty kind of colored. And now that it's gotten older, it's kind of turned more of a gray, brown. I'm not really sure what it's going to do by the time... It's only about a year old, not even a year old yet. By the time it hits that, full maturity, not really sure what its colors will look like. I think it's a female as of right now, just by kind of feeling around on it, but tegus are one of the harder large lizards to sex when they're young, so just kind of my best guess. But you can tell when the males mature, they get these big jowls. You see these big fat sacs under his chin there. That's what he'll lift those up when he's trying to show off to the ladies, and he'll rub them all over her back like that.
Oh. Now, looking at her too, she's pretty wide in the old back end here, which I never say that at home for you married men. Never look at her and say you're pretty wide in the back end. That doesn't work out well. Do you think that maybe she's possibly been bred again this season?
Yeah, she could have. I didn't really try nearly as hard this past spring to try to get them to do it, just because I honestly kind of wanted to see if they would do it on their own.
Gotcha.
But she had already laid her clutch, and I think they were pretty close, if not already hatching this time last summer. So
okay, so you think we probably missed this year as we're kind of trying to figure out what makes them go?
Like I just let them be completely on a timer, just undone this year, just to kind of an experiment. Last year I did a lot. I was a lot more involved with them every day. But that kind of just goes to show that it takes a lot of work to make these kinds of things. It doesn't just happen.
No. And now, when you're talking about these big lizards and tegus as pets, and again, you're a big lizard guy, and I often refer to Colin in the shop if somebody wants a big lizard. Where do tegus rank? Like if you said, somebody comes in and says, Colin, I want to get a big lizard, like a nice-sized, large lizard. We're talking tegus, iguanas, niles, blackthroats if we had extra ones, savannas, kind of where do these rank in the East to care for and that kind of thing?
So, I mean, they're definitely not exactly a beginner reptile by any means.
Was there any big lizard that is?
No, not really. I would definitely recommend anybody to get a bearded dragon or something like that before you venture into this territory, because this is definitely kind of expert level stuff. But the big difference that I've kind of found between tegus and monitors, and you have more experience with alligators than I do, so I can't really say on that one, but tegus definitely seem to bond with their owner. He kind of seems to know me, and I can tell he acts differently around other people, and so does Tammy. She doesn't have the slightest care when I pick her up, but I can tell she gets a little uneasy when others are handling her. And so they're aware of individual people, and I don't know if that's by scent or just visual, but the monitors don't seem to do that. They are very individual.
Gotcha.
I'm out for myself. Don't care who you are. They might not perceive you as a threat, but they definitely don't bond to you like a tegu does.
So you'd say you find tegus probably more rewarding as a pet,
just
because of that bond.
If you're looking for something that's going to be kind of like a dog and have that relationship, I would definitely suggest a tegu. But monitors have their own very interesting quirks, like just how independent they are, and the way that they really don't need anything else. They're very interesting to watch. Probably, I would say monitors are a little bit more intelligent than tegus, but tegus are a lot more social and a lot more emotional.
Well, and I know these guys don't poop on you as babies as much as an owl
No.
So I like them for that, because
they're
if
a lot
you've
calmer.
ever been crapped on and been bit by the same owlmonger in 30 seconds, it kind of turns you off of them a little bit.
Yeah. That's one thing I like to say. Tegus, even though they can be crazy and they can be mean like any animal can, I think they're a lot more in control of themselves. It's not spastic wild movements.
And I do remember when these first hatched, when you grab one, they'd be crazy. And I remember talking to you about that. And the big thing was kind of letting them run through your hand and playing that jug with them at first, letting them calm down a little bit, and not trying to grab them and restrain them and hold on to them.
Yeah.
Letting them have a place to put their feet and let them kind of run through your hand, and not I'm going to dominate you.
Yeah. If you go in and you just boom like that, they're going to freak out, But if you scoop them and you just kind of let them do their thing, then they're very good animals. You see how they'll even go to sleep if you rub them on their head.
Yeah.
Like that.
Guys, I love these, and I
don't
know as much about them as I wish I did, because this is something I kind of got into later. But fortunately, we got Colin here to kind of teach me along and help us out when we're setting people up. We did sell a lot of these last year, and everybody that we sold them to, I don't think anybody ever contacts had a problem.
No, not a single
Most people
person.
contacted, hey, this thing is great, and they were really happy to get get these neat animals. Another channel, if you want to learn more about Tegus, that I would recommend is look up a channel called MacGyver.
Yeah.
Now, no, it's not the MacGyver TV show from the 80s. There is MacGyver the Tegu, and that guy that owns MacGyver has done a ton of work, and it shows you the potential of these animals if you work with them. It comes when it's called. I think it has a few basic tricks it does. It literally is like having a dog.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It free ranges in his house and yard most of the time, I believe.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
very similar to Tammy, except I think it's more of a personal at-home pet, so they spend
Right.
more time with it.
we don't, unfortunately, get to do that here.
We're limited by time with just the quantity of animals, but as you see, she gets handled enough to where she does not really care.
No, she doesn't.
I've taken her to educational talks here at the local college at K-State. I've done birthday parties with her, and I've done like local events where there's like charity drives and stuff, and like I said, I've taken her to expos, things like that. So she has been handled by numerous strangers who don't know anything about reptiles.
Right.
You know, and she doesn't seem to care.
That's fine.
She really just wants to burrow down and go to sleep. That's all she's trying to do.
So she's lazy, is what we're saying.
If she could sleep all day and wake up briefly to eat, that would be her day. And that's
So,
pretty much what she does.
They may be more like a cat than a dog, I guess. Kurt, you got any questions for us?
Yeah, what do they eat?
Anything they can get in their mouth. That's an interesting thing to talk about with these guys compared to monitors, is they're a lot more omnivorous. Monitors will turn their nose up at any fruit, vegetable kind of stuff. These guys will eat plenty of fruits. They really like fruits, especially like cherries are her favorite food. She loves cherries. Things that are brightly colored, like strawberries, blueberries, things like that. They'll eat those up. They're very omnivorous, but they definitely love their meat. So they like to eat rodents. They love chasing things down like that. They'll eat insects when they're smaller. It's just not really worth it when they're that size to go chasing after a cricket. But they'll eat like...
You got over trying to escape.
This is a smaller Paraguayan red. Just get them all out here for you to
So this
show.
is a Paraguayan red. What's really the difference? I mean, I can see the striping on it and everything else.
Yeah, so it's just a different locality. And just like this one over here is a black and white, but it's from a different locality also, to where they Chacoan, and so they have these white heads, and they get a little bit bigger. That's actually the largest variety of them. These guys get massive when they're fully grown.
Come here, little buddy. And you can see how easy they are to handle. They don't really mind being picked up too much. They do have very strong jaws, I do know that.
Yeah,
So
you
you
do
don't
not
wanna
want to
get
get bit. If you get bit, you're probably gonna have stitches.
A lot of crushing force and a lot of sharp teeth.
Yeah,
so.
those teeth, I have seen them just bite through a mouse like butter, like just sheared. It's impressive.
It's a good thing they have a nice disposition most of the time.
Yes.
But so anyway, there you go. Some big lizards. Hope we'll bring us some more lizards on this channel for Olympus Reptiles, and you'll probably see some of the things that we do a lot of and Colin does less of, hopefully on Classy Herps, as you kind of start seeing some cross-filming on these two channels as we're kind of bringing everything at the shop together. So I hope you guys enjoy seeing that. Let us know what you think. If there's other big lizards or lizards you want to see, we literally have a little bit of everything at this shop. I mean, I'd like to do videos with black-throat monitors one day, some chameleon videos. We all like chameleons. Some leopard geckos, because Cole's been bleeding leopard geckos for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Some bearded dragons and their morphs. So we got a lot of cool things coming. So make sure and stay with us. And I won't just share my balls. I'll give you all herbs. Yeah, that happened. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.